Here we are. Mr. Grandjany went. I don't know whether it was a subject of curiosity or he somehow, these radio personalities wanted to have him on the program because it was a whole lot different. So there was an entertainer whose name was Bing Crosby. Bob Crosby was his brother. Bing Crosby. And he had a radio program. He had several radio programs.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, he appeared on the Bing Crosby program. Well, obviously they had writers who had a script, and I don't think Bing Crosby quite knew what to do with a harp, but he was very respectful of Mr. Grandjany. And so Mr. Grandjany did a little bit of playing on this program. He played his arrangement of Londonderry Air, and
the Loyer Toccata, yes? Yes,
I believe so, yes,
yeah.
the Loyer Toccata. And when he was finished, Bing Crosby said, "Wonderful, wonderful, simply beautiful. Monsieur Grandjany, ever try a cowboy song on the harp?" And Grandjany says, "No, I haven't. The harp is rather hard to play on horseback." And Crosby says, "Yes, I guess it is, but many a musical cowboy prefers to ignore his horse." He said, "I really don't think I know any cowboy songs." So that was fine. He played.
That's wonderful.
He played on this program, and apparently it was very successful. They wrote him thank you notes and on the script and everything. So that was.
Oh, that's right. It's signed. Isn't
Yes,
it,
it's
by
signed. Bing Crosby and his
to Marcel. Thank you.
Bob Burns.
Wow.
Yep. And Crosby was on the radio with programs from 1946 to 1954. So everybody knew who he was. And that was kind of interesting for Grandjany to do that because it was so out of his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
He didn't do that kind of thing.
Joking around with Bing Crosby.
No, he didn't joke around with Bing Crosby. But so we have a couple of other things here. Here's a picture of the famous Harpo Marx, who is one of the Marx brothers, and he played the harp in, I think, 4 of their movies.
Yeah, at least,
the
yeah.
most watched one, I think, is A Night at the Opera.
Mm-hmm.
And Grandjany did teach him some harp lessons. He took some lessons with Grandjany. And so Harpo sent him a photograph, and it hung in the hallway of Grandjany's apartment, as the photographs of many of his students did. And here, Benny Goodman, the famous clarinet player, had a radio program also. Benny Goodman and the Berkshire String Quartet presented the Ravel Introduction and Allegro. All of the principals involved gathered in New York for rehearsal. Everyone showed up with a complete score except for Grandjany, and Goodman said, "Did you forget your music?" "No, I didn't forget," said the soft-spoken French virtuoso. "I've been playing this piece without music since I first introduced it 50 years ago at Ravel's inaugural performance in Paris. You could have heard a baton or a clarinet drop." So it's just very, very interesting. He went on to play Debussy Dances and Ravel Introduction and Allegro with the Berkshire Quartet, and then Benny Goodman played along with the rest of the program.
You know, I was not aware that Benny Goodman did much classical performance because my experience of Benny Goodman, my knowledge of him basically was about his jazz playing and big band playing from the 30s, 40s, 50s. I didn't realize he actually played concerts like this of classical repertoire, and it's fascinating. It would have been interesting to hear him play.
Yes, and
in a different style.
Yes, and there he would often play with an orchestra that was doing American in Paris.
Of course, yeah.
And he played. Was there a Copland clarinet concerto?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
that
that's right.
I think it's dedicated to him.
I think it was written. Yes, it was
Yes.
commissioned. It was.
Yes.
He did the inaugural performance, the premiere performance of it. You're right. I completely forgot.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm good for something. But so he had extensions of himself all over the place. I mean, here he was playing with Bing Crosby and Benny Goodman and teaching Harpo Marx. And then this is a photograph that I really, truly love. It is on a Hollywood sound stage, and there are 8 harpists in the photograph, 5 of whom studied with Grandjany. And they were recording the score to a movie called Grand Prix. And so here you see all of these harpists, and I love, there's nothing elegant about a soundstage, and so many of the harp boxes are in the background. But truly 5 of the 8 people studied with him.
Yeah, well, the other thing that I found very interesting early on, the instrumental Quintet de Paris, I did not realize that Mr. Grandjany started that.
Yes, he did.
My knowledge of it was only after Mr. Grandjany moved to the United States, and apparently Pierre Jamais replaced him in that group.
Yes, he did. But this was Grandjany's baby, the Quintet Instrumental de Paris. And out of this group came the commissioning of at least 5 quintets that I know of for this instrumentation. There's Dandy and Malpiero and Pierney, and I know I'll forget the other 2.
And Pierre Jamais went on to continue that,
yes,
commissioning so many
yes,
pieces for this,
yes,
for this instrumental combination. But Mr. Grandjany actually started it.
Yes, he
and
did.
I don't think many people realize that.
No, I don't think they do either, because he was in it for a very short period of time before he came to. This is 1922, so he wasn't coming to the U.S. yet for probably 14 years. But when he left the group, Pierre Jamais was asked to pick up the reins of the harp seat.
Yeah, they were good friends, were they?
Very good friends, yes.
They played together in the pit somewhere, I think.
Yes, I think
in
Stravinsky.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
They were there.
Right,
I remember that story. They were there. And Catherine Michel told us that story, that they were there for the Rite of Spring premiere.
Yes, they were.
And they stayed, even though there was no harp part, but they wanted to be a witness to it.
Yes, they did.
Amazing. Amazing.
We talked about performing and teaching earlier in this discussion, but just to give everyone an idea that travel of any kind, especially going from France to the U.S. or from the U.S. to France, was not easy. You can see here he is looking very brave in a heavy overcoat and a winter cap, but it's really, really cold.
There's snow on the deck.
There's snow on the deck. It is not a place that I would like to be, in the middle of the North Atlantic, perhaps. But it was a struggle. And for him, when he first started out his career, I didn't mention this before, but when he first started out his career, he was playing solo recitals, not in these lovely halls and wonderful places, but he was playing in church basements and in churches and for ladies' clubs and the Rotary Club and everybody, just to get performance experience and to get his name around. And he was concertizing throughout the United States, especially in the Midwest, where harp music was, you're kidding me. So he eventually built and built and built and built his career until he finally had a breakout, and then you see all this other stuff happening.
Well, these are near and dear to my heart,
Yes.
because these next photographs are Mr. Grandjany. What year was this? 1960?
This is the 61 season.
So this is with the Hudson Valley Philharmonic, based out of Poughkeepsie, New York. And I am actually the principal harpist with the Hudson Valley Symphony Orchestra, which is the most recent incarnation. We had to change our name recently from Philharmonic to Hudson Valley Symphony. But it's the same group, 90 years old. And here Mr. Grandjany is, playing the Mozart Flute and Harp Concerto with the conductor at the time, Claude Monteau, who was the son of Pierre Monteau.
The famous conductor.
And so apparently Claude Monteau took this orchestra in the 60s, 50s and 60s, and really built it up to one of the best regional orchestras in our country. And Mr. Grandjany came up and played the Debussy, he played the Mozart, and I played a concerto several years ago with the orchestra, and I was so excited to know that Mr. Grandjany also played a concerto with the orchestra. And,
yes, he was very well loved.
He was, and and very, it's not that far to travel up from
No.
New York City, thank goodness. So he was able to come up and play with the Philharmonic.
Mm-hmm.
And we use these photos on our website right now
really?
to kind of highlight the history, the long history
Oh, how
of great
nice.
music with our
Yeah.
orchestra as we try and rebuild through our difficult time. But
And so here is Grandjany, and there's a flute player in the back. So I'm assuming
that might be Ravel.
that might be the Ravel Introduction Allegro that he played with orchestra, and
Yeah,
he was
I think,
very popular.
I remember reading in the Harp Journal or in some magazine at one point that it was Mr. Grandjany who first played the Ravel with a full string orchestra,
Yes.
as opposed to just individual string
Right,
players.
right.
And so Mr. Ravel said, "That's a great way to do it."
Yeah.
Basically,
Right.
I'm paraphrasing. I don't know
Yeah,
the exact
no,
quote,
that's
but
true.
but so it was the reason we can now do it with an orchestra is because Mr. Grandjany
Right.
kind of
Right.
strong-armed Ravel into saying, "That's a great way to
That's
do
good.
it." Of course,
Of course, Ravel wanted to get his music out there.
of course.
It wasn't Grandjany's favorite way of playing the piece, but it was a way to get the piece
Right,
played.
and it's a good companion piece to the Debussy.
To the Debussy, right.
So it's a but then again, the other nice companion piece to the Debussy is Mr. Grandjany's aria in classic style
Yes,
for harp and
absolutely.
strings,
Yep.
which
Yep.
is also just a wonderful piece to get to play with orchestra, and I've been honored to be able to play it with Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
So
There we are.
I feel a kinship to Mr. Grandjany and
You should.
his performance with my orchestra. So
Yeah.
even though I never met him, I'm very sad to say. So
But you were close to meeting him in the fact that you studied with people who knew him very well.
yes,
I mean, Jane Wadensall knew him very well. I knew him very well.
and Marguerite Michaud.
And Marguerite. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
very lucky to have
Yep.
had such wonderful teachers who spent so many years studying with him, because it's technique is everything. It frees you to do everything.
It frees you to do everything. Absolutely. You're holding on to a poster that is the most unusual thing, and I was so glad to have it in this collection. It is the poster that advertises his golden anniversary year of 1959. So in 1909, he played his Paris debut, as I just said.